Another day, another card game. I guess it's about time to open up the store again. The Goblin Squad sure took their time finishing the repairs. Ah yes, there we are. Much better. Wait, what's that horn? No. Please God no. No.
Now, before we head into today's opening, there's actually a stop we need to make first. You see all that stash of star chips that we have? Yeah, it's about time we fucking spend them. You better have your wallet ready, merchant. We're here to spend it all.
I've been expecting you. For the last time, Blackbeard. I'm not going to join your crew. Wait a minute. You aren't Blackbeard.
No, I'm not Blackbeard. Also, holy shit, this place looks really damn nice on the inside. But who the hell is Blackbeard?
Wait. Are you telling me you completely missed the fact there's a giant ship stationed outside the building?
Yes, I did.
I'm somehow not surprised. Anyway, the store is ready for you. What will it be?
Today, merchant, we're going at it big. I'm buying the Goblin Accountant card.
Oh my. It sounds about time you gained some actual use for those star chips. Consider it done. Now get out there and open some packs.
Well, look who it is. We're back again at the mighty Dragoon, now that we actually have our Dragoon, mind you. And hopefully the video quality is a bit better now. I still need to get used to using this thing, but hey, it is what it is. So today we're now officially going into phase number 2 of the deck building, essentially, to where we want to start becoming a going second deck. In order to do so, there are quite a few cards that we need to pick up, some of which are much harder to find than others. However, most of them, luckily for us, can be found in this. This is a 2019 Megaton, and it's host to most of the important cards that we need for a going second deck. It has Borosaur Dragon, it has Dark Ruler No More, it has Nibiru. Everything we could possibly want is in here. However, I managed to get this little bad boy on the cheap, so we actually get to have 4 booster packs of Genesis Impact as well for today's opening, which is awesome. In here, we're mostly looking for Artemis, which is a Link 1 Light that can go off of Alistair, which is super good. Alright, let me get the plastic off this, and let's see if our camera won't make us suffer today. So, if you didn't know, the 19 Megatons are actually a little bit better than the 2020 ones because they have promos. And the promos are realistically what we're after here. Most of what we want is in the promos, to be fair. So we are going to start with the promos. Let me do this off screen. Oh, that's some loud plastic, isn't it? Alright, so what we want from here is Dark Ruler No More and Nibiru. However, we're starting off with Exodia, the Legendary Defender. I actually really like this card, it's cool looking. Palladium Oracle Mana. I've never seen this one before. Dimension Shifter is pretty good. If you have no cards in your graveyard, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard until the end of the next turn. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. We have so many cards in our graveyard usually, so it isn't really helpful for us unless it's the first card we activate, but it's cool. Monster Reborn in Secret, which we already have, and Obelisk the Tormentor. That's unfortunate. I mean, the shifter's cool. Like, it's a good card. I don't know if we're able to use it, but I will keep it to the side for now. So, let's dig into Genesis Impact. This is the newest set right now, I believe. It has... So, the main card we want from here is Artemis, the Link 1 Light for Alistair, but another card that we really want from here are all of the Trick Clowns, as well as the Nightmares have reprints in this set. We're starting with Magistus Invocation. Future summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a spellcaster. If summoning a Magistus monster this way, you can also use monsters. No, don't think that's useful for us. Unfortunately, but yeah. Sign-up regression. Bottomless Trap Hole has a reprint. That's kind of cool. Star Drawing. Engraver of the Mark. Oh, hey, it's Herald of, is it Ultimateness? Yeah, it's the big one. Interesting, we don't play this, but... And then Live Twin Home. Super rare. Not really what we want either, but it is cool to have. So let's dig into the 2019 tin. Now, what do we actually want from these packs? There's only really one card I'm looking for, and it is Borrelsword Dragon. I don't think we're gonna get it, but here's Vandred Anima, Monster Reborn, Crusadia Power, Gookie Face Turn, The Deep Grave, Limit Code, Trickstar Bloom as a rare, Incantation Bookstone as a super, Nightmare Cerberus. I mean, unfortunately, it's not one of the nightmares that we want, but it is cool that we got it. Salamangreat Foxy is our prismatic secret. And then Falco, Galaxy Cleric, Segida, Bear Blocker, then the rest of 2-for-1 team. A Cerberus of all things. Yeah, the 2019 teams also have the nightmares, which is kind of good, I suppose. Cerberus isn't half bad. I wouldn't say it's the one I want, but yeah, it's a card. Right. Oh no, it's our worst enemy, Dryton Delta. Oh, this is really good. Damage Juggler is one of the clowns that we actually want to get our hands on. Perfect. That's getting added for sure. Magistus Vrita. One of the Invoke monsters I think we're never going to use. Evoke Cocytus, or... Cocytus, that would be correct. It's Water Chicken. Don't think we'll use it, but it's cool to have nonetheless. Evil Twin GG Easy. Endymion Magistus of... Is it Mastery? Yeah, Magistus of Mastery. And... Dryton Matonus Quantids. More Dryton cards. Don't want them. I don't even want to see them. They make me sad. They make me upset. I don't want to have them in my vicinity. Right. Trickstar Defilinity, Trickstar Bouquet, Goki the Giant Ogre, Vandred Daybreak, Noble Arms Clarent, Boy Cotton, that's adorable actually, Mirror Force Launcher, DDD High Flame King Genghis, ugh. Oh no, Skystrike can make a Widow Anchor, cool card, back when they were good. World Legacy Succession. Could be useful in our deck if we played more Links, which we really don't, but it is a cool secret rare nonetheless. Spiritualist, Area Zero, Chimera, Hunter, Sanguinary Mirror, and Imp Cotton Eater. Ooh, not exactly looking great right now. We did get at least one of the clowns that we wanted. We need I think we need one more of them and I'd be satisfied here. Backup Secretary, Dryton Meteor Shower, Book of the Law, Extra Foolish Burial, Dryton Asterism. Oh, speaking of which, there's the second clown, nice. And Beak Cop from the Underworld. Damage Juggler is one of the more useful clowns because we could quite literally fetch a light target as well as taking 0 damage for 1 turn. So, or rather for 1 attack, I should say. But it's very, very good for stalling, which is something we're going to need to do if we are ending up going second and not OKOing our opponent. Last 2019 Megatin, we're hoping for a Borrelsword. 0 extra link, Cyber Dragon Veer, Goku Beer Hug, Insector Picofalina, Restoration Point Guard, 1 Very Angry Dog, Ballista Squad, Realm of Danger, Crusadia Draco, Danger Dogman, Until Noble Arms Are Needed Once Again. I didn't even know this was a card, but that's a very long title. The Bellman, Dragus, Training for Hire, Constellation Vice, Clockrider, and Clockspur Toy. So unfortunately, the 2019 tin was kind of a dud this week, so most likely we're going to need to dive back into that again, unfortunately. We have one more Genesis Impact pack for this week. Oh, there's the third one! Nice! I think we got all of the clowns that we want now. If 2 or more monsters are on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is easy for us to do, and it gives us an additional Link monster, essentially. Very nice. Endymion, Magistus of Mastery, Dryton Eclipse, another Bluebird, Backup Secretary. A Weiss the Magistus Spell Spirit. Not the card we wanted at the end there, unfortunately. But, on the other hand, this is not half bad. I mean, I'm never going to use this, but it's cool to have two of them, I suppose. But we did get the clowns we were looking for, so these are definitely going into the deck one way or another, just because of how useful they are as an engine. Cerberus is debatable. You can discard one card, then target one special summon monster your opponent's main monster zone and destroy it. It's debatable. We can run this. It would be decent. It helps us climb into a rank 4 as well, I suppose. But I really wanted Phoenix. Phoenix is like the one, right? And then Dimension Shifter. Don't think I'll be able to play it, but it is going to be nice to have regardless. But yeah, that's it for this week, unfortunately. No Boral Sword, no Artemis, no Nightmare. We'll see what I can end up doing with the deck, and before the dogs decide to eat me, I will see you guys in our duels for the week. So now you might be wondering, considering we completed 2 challenges last week, what were our rewards? Well, for managing to perform a 1-turn knockout on that poor Dark Magician player, we earned ourselves an additional Genesis Impact pack. For being able to beat that entire match without summoning Winda, however, we earned ourselves 4. You know how bad those things can be? Let's have a look. Ooh, that is very bright. A Bottomless Trap Hole. Oh, yeah! This is one of the ones that we wanted. Nightmare Unicorn is really, really good. I'm happy to have that. I don't think we can necessarily play it right now, but it's going to be very good to have later on. Okay, new take, I suppose. Magistus Invocation. Extra Foolish Burial again, I believe we already had this. Evil Twin GG Easy. Book of the Law, and Dryton Metonus Quinantids, another Dryton. Unfortunate, not what we necessarily want to have at the moment, but it is what it is. Let's flip another one open. Extra Foolish Burial, Dytron Asterism, another Damage Juggler, now we have a complete playset. Silent Regression, number 96 Dark Mist, Live Twin Channel, and Crowley, the Magistus of Grimoires. Sadly, it is not an Alistair, even though it is Alistair on the art. But hey, it is what it is. So let's try this again then. Genesis Impact. We're still looking for that Artemis, as well as a Nightmare Phoenix. That was a link in the back there. Oopsie daisy. Drytron Beta Rastakan. Aldebra. Another Life Twin Channel. Herald of Ultimateness, World Legacy World Lance, Born from Draconis. Oh, it's another Invoker of Madness. Unfortunately, this thing isn't really worth anything anymore, but back when we pulled it back in like episode 1 or 2, this was great. Unfortunately, not anymore, as they say. But we won't let that get us down. Let's bite into the last 2 rewards pack from our challenges. Live Twin Challenge, Silent Regression once more, Drytron Asterism again, a second Unicorn, did not want to see that, number 96 Dark Mist, Engraver of the Mark, Dryton Fafnir, Drytron Field Spell. Now 2 Unicorns. I really wanted to get Phoenix. Phoenix is the best one I think we're able to run right now. It helps us with so many things. Alright. The last invoked fusion, Magic Lania, which is just a giant beatstick. Born from Draconis. World Lance. Nightmare Griffin, another nightmare that we don't necessarily want. Drytron Meteor Shower. Evil Twin Present. Secret Password. So unfortunately, our reward packs did not really yield us much of any results. We now have access to a unicorn, which is good, but it isn't the one I think we need to run. I may include it anyway, but I'm not entirely sure. But we'll see how this week's duels go, and we'll know from there, won't we?
Hey there, Floofball.
Hey, Tour Guide. Nice to see that you refreshed the challenge board when I was out.
It seems you have managed to recover from your illness. It's back to challenges for you. What tickles your fancy today?
Well, considering this is the first day where we really have access to bring Dragoon into challenges, I think we're going to go for that Invoke a Nope challenge.
Roger that. Now go get them, champ. Just don't get sick again.
I promise to try my hardest not to, but then again, you never know what might happen. Despite that, we have duels to get to, ladies and gentlemen, so sit tight. So, for the first duel of this episode, we are actually going up against a Shaddoll mirror. How do I know? Well, our opponent sets 3 on the first turn and then passes it to us, so we can probably assume. Our starting hand is kind of garbage going up against a mirror, but not that we know at the moment. For the time being, we simply decide to activate Shaddoll Fusion to get a Beast and Wendy summon, hoping to go off of something from there. We then activate Foolish Burial, going into Trick Clown so we can attempt to climb up in order to reach Dragoon. In doing so, however, as soon as we get the Cross Sheep and Abkalon's effect activating, letting us toss Incarnation so we can flip open our Ariel that we set to bring back Abkalon, our opponent chains a Torrential Tribute. This is a card that's become a major issue for me in the last couple of episodes because I'm simply never expecting it. Our opponent then has a set Squamata which activates its effect in order to send Wendy to the graveyard, which sets a Beast. We are simply forced to set one and pass as our opponent activates its other face down, Schism. Schism pops off, allowing him to get an Abkalon on the field with a Beast set, so he is basically good to go for his following turn. At this point, he drops an Ariel to banish everything from our graveyard that's of relevance, which was Shaddoll Fusion and some fusion material, going into Cross Sheep, using Abkalon's effect to draw himself into a Hedgehog, sending the Shaddoll Fusion to grave. He then uses Hedgehog to link into Artemis, which is the card we are searching for, getting himself into a construct using Squall? It's Schism. It's not Squall. It's called Rook. Whatever. He manages to get Ariel onto the field, which goes as well into Dogmatica Maximus, unfortunately. He links them off into Selene. Selene using its effect in order to special summon a spellcaster, which is going to be Maximus. At this point, we are sitting in a very bad spot as our opponent brings out Axis Code Talker, which I did not expect the Shaddoll deck to do, but that is something they can do. They do pop it off in order to give us the Hedgehog effect, drawing us into a dragon. Our opponent then attacks us for a massive chunk of damage, and our next draw is going to decide everything, except he has the Shaddoll Fusion, so he simply ends us right then and there. Game number 2, we've sided in more Super Polys in order to go against our mirror match, and we allow our opponent once again to go first, which probably was our biggest mistake. Our hand this time is looking a bit better, though the lack of fusion spells is definitely going to hurt us in the end. Our opponent simply sets 4 and passes to us, where we draw a Shaddoll Fusion, which we are forced to use immediately, going into Abkalon. Unfortunately, we only get a Squamata effect, which we decide to use in order to send Dragon. Dragon attempts to pop one of his face downs, which turns out to be Sinister Shadow Games, but we negate it using Ash. Normal summoning Falco in order to get into Predaplant Verte Anaconda and going into our Dragoon, being our only real way of dealing with a board of Unknown. In doing so, we do get Dragoon onto the board, and the second we do, we are met with Super Poly. Yep, it has finally been used against us, and let me tell you, it feels awful. Our opponent gets a Winda onto the board, which is immune to the destruction effect of Dragoon, so he simply uses it to bash into our Predaplant, setting an extra card and passing his turn. We are in a very bad spot. We do draw into a Monster Reborn, which we decide to use to bring back our Dragoon, now not having any destruction anyway, to which our opponent flips. Schism. We attempt to negate it, but the negation is met with his top deck, which turned out to be Solemn Strike. This way, he's able to bring out another Winda from his extra deck and getting Dragoon into the graveyard as we take a very hard. For the second match of today, however, we are going up against one legend of old, Sky Strikers. Our opponent activates Area 0, setting one card, activating Area 0's effect, but finding a Ray on top, destroying Terraforming in the process. He then normal summons this Ray, going straight into Shizuku, activating Pot of Desires to draw 2 cards, setting one, and decides to pass it to us. Shizuku's effect activates, drawing him a Widow Anchor to his hand. Our hand is pretty stacked against this. We decide to go and attempt to pop off to the combo, knowing that he's going to activate Widow Anchor at some point anyway. However, he chains his Effect Veiler to our construct and hits a Shark Cannon in the Clown in the graveyard, meaning our combo kind of ends short. At this point, I make a massive misclick and accidentally summon Cross Sheep instead of my Predaplant. Oops. Our opponent then has Multi-Woe in his hand, which he decides to activate, and then getting a Rose off the top in order to summon it from the deck. Then, here come the Sky Striker combos, going straight into Hayate, destroying our Cross Sheep in order to draw himself into a Spell Striker card. Or rather, dump it to the graveyard. He attacks us for 1500 using Rose, passing his turn, and he drops an Afterburners, which means he's setting up for destruction. Linking both of his monsters off for Kagari, or Ziki first, going into Kagari to pick up the Afterburners, then going back into Shizuku, setting one card and passing his turn with multi-roll active. Our hand is still good as we have Shaddoll Fusion and we can attempt to go for the combo again, which we do. At this point, it does get hit with a Widow Anchor, meaning he steals the construct for the turn and its effect is negated. We attempt to activate the Clown that we sent to the graveyard, but it's hit with a Skullmeister. We attempt to do a lore and we're forced to simply set one and pass. Using the effect of his multi-roll, he sets the Widow Anchor once more, preparing for the next turn as we return our construct. He then goes into Kagari once again, Kagari activating its effect to get his short cannon back. He then uses said short cannon to steal a Falco from our graveyard to go into Halki Fibrax. Halki Fibrax effect attempts to activate, which we immediately hit with the Ash Blossom in our hand, forcing him to use his Area 0 as well as his Widow Anchor in order to take a construct and summon a Ray. Ray goes into Hayate once again, Hayate hitting us for 1500 in the face, as we probably expected. He then throws, I believe it's Hercules' base, to the graveyard, construct attacking into our Ariel, Ariel actually having a target, which is going to be Beast, that he banished off of a short cannon. Activating the effect of Area 0 once again, not getting a target, then going into Access Code. Access Code activates effect to destroy Beast, draws as a card, but we're still not in a great spot here. Mecha Modules, multi-roll, again activates, setting both Shark Cannon and Hercules base from his graveyard to his back row, and we have a lot to fight through. We draw into Squamata, which isn't the greatest thing, so we'll attempt to activate Meltdown, drawing into an Alistair. Alistair is going to be summoned, and we're going to bait his Widow Anchor by using its effect. It does, in fact, get baited, which means we can now activate Shaddoll Fusion going into Apkalone. Apkalone is going to negate the effect of his multi-roll in the back, hoping that he won't have anything to get over it. And here I make yet another misplay, because here I was like, okay, now I can go into Unicorn, and I can get rid of his Access Code Talker. Not quite what I can do if I don't control my Alistair, huh? Regardless, we simply pass over... Oh, I actually wanted to go into Verte Anaconda at this point, but it doesn't matter because its Access Code is simply going to take over the game by banishing all of the different elemental Sky Strikers, and we are forced to take a surrender on the first game. For game number 2, we've sighted in some heavy back row removal, and we're essentially hoping for the best. We unfortunately hard start into our Red Ice Fusion, forcing us to use it immediately, which really sucks. We then just simply set a card and we pass our turn to our opponent, who again starts off with Area 0. That was a cat. He discards Jamming Waves in order to do it. As he attempts to activate Hornet Drones, we simply tell it to screw off using Dragoon's effect, and we're met with Mystic Mine. We go from turn 4 to turn 20, and nothing of any value has happened until he manages to steal the Unicorn we had on field to go into Access Code Talker, finally managing to auto Dragoon by beating it in the face. At this point, we're sitting in a very bad position, having used most of our resources to try and break open Mystic Mine. There are currently 2 Twin Twisters in our deck, so you are aware. None of them have been drawn yet. At this point, we activate our Clown's effect and then go straight into our Shaddoll Fusion going into Apkalone. Apkalone choosing to activate its effect to silence Access Code Talker, using Dragoon's effect to attempt to destroy Mystic Mine, but it gets hit with a Skullmeister and we're stuck in the same place again. When we attempt to destroy the Access Code Talker, we are hit with a Widow Anchor, which he just resets during the end phase thanks to multi-roll. Mystic Mine is then destroyed since we control the same amount of monsters, and now we have a chance to come back. Our opponent then activates said Widow Anchor in order to attack us directly, lowering us to 400 life points. If he draws into any Sky Striker monster at this point, we lose, because he could just go into Kagari, attack us directly, and we'd be out of it. He does destroy our Apkalone using the effect of multi-roll, and as we attempt to activate its effect, it gets hit with a Ghost Bell, unfortunately. We still have one more Shaddoll Fusion in our deck, so at this point we decide to go into Apkalone once again, silencing the multi-roll, which is probably what I should have done the first time. At this point, we can also normal summon our Alistair going into our Invocation, and now shit's getting real. We get a Clown to our hand, which we use to go into Cerberus, activating our Invocation, which is hit with a DD Crow, removing the Alistair, and we no longer have a target. So we simply shuffle it back into the deck using a lure to try and draw into it once again, then attempting to activate Monster Reborn in order to go into Dragoon, but it gets hit with a Bell! We don't use the Cerberus effect because we were hoping to go into anything that could beat over it anyway, but we do manage to beat him in the face for a few points of damage as we pass turn, hoping he doesn't draw into a Sky Striker. And he doesn't, and he is simply forced to use the Shark Cannon, which now brings back Dragoon. Uh-oh. At this point, he skips his battle phase for some reason, which I am confused as to why, but we finally draw into our Twin 20s. We attempt to use them to hit 2 of his back row, which he bait out using the Dragoon negate. Now, we're in business. We flip open Falco, which brings back yet another Apcalone. Going into Alistair once again to get our invocation back. At this point, we link off a Cross Sheep. Linking off a Predapite Verti Anaconda, even though we can't actually use its effect because we die. We dump a dragon in order to break one of his back row, which turns out to be a Shark Cannon, using Invocation's effect to go into Mechaba, and now we're in freaking business. Falco comes back from the graveyard thanks to Cross Sheep's effect. Invocation shuffles itself back in so we can draw into Alistair. And then we link off into our Crusadia Avramax, which has turned out to be a great card. We can use this to beat over Dragoon because its effect simply lets us steal half of its original attack, going to 7k, as we can attempt to attack for game using our boosted Mechaba. And we get hit with a Hornet Drone. Hornet Drone special summons a token, which is not going to do him much because that was how he would win the game. But we break the token, pass the turn. The negation of his multi-roll is live. He goes for a Shark Widow Anchor. I always mix them up. He then goes for a Mystic Mine yet again, and we're stuck in the same position as before. We simply end our turn again, waiting for anything that can draw into Mystic Mine. Since we've used one Twin Twister, there is one more currently in the deck. We again begin the passing of turns, as you do under Mystic Mine, hoping to draw into anything. And voila, the Mystic Mine is gone. We attack in for game, bringing it back from the jaws of controlling defeat. This game had me on edge the entire time playing it, and hot diggity, I don't think I'll have another one like this for a while. Luckily for us, as we move into game number 3, we have now prepared even harder for that Mystic Mine, citing in all the back row hate that we possibly can, and focusing on getting Winda turn number 1. Winda comes out, preventing him from doing any Sky Striker shenanigans as it sets Beast, and we will simply pass our turn on that. Our opponent goes for a Rhoda, which draws him into Rose for some shocking reason, which, you know, means he has a Ray in hand. He uses Ray to go into Shizuku. Shizuku then activates Mystic freaking Mine again. It's always Mystic Mine. Luckily for us, our top deck is Twin Twisters, which we use immediately to get rid of it. Beast effect attempts to activate but gets hit with an effect failure, meaning we are most certainly free to go into our Dragoon. Winda's effect attempts to activate, drawing back a fusion card from our graveyard, but it gets hit with a Ghost Bell. We simply go for the Dragoon anyway, and we pump some damage into our opponent. We then choose to set as well, just to make sure we have something on the field. That's going to be a dragon. Hopefully he can pop that before anything happens. He activates Ray's effect, which brings it back, which also activates Rose's effect from hand. Even though he has 2 monsters currently on the board, we decide to use our attack to beat over Ray so that we can pop Rose without Ray coming back. After this, I realized it's only linked monsters that brings Rose back, but it doesn't matter. Our opponent realizes he can't beat the Dragoon, and he simply scoops them up. For our final ranked game of today, we are going up against Photonz. Our opponent decides to go first and then just passes his turn. Quite peculiar. We decide to activate our Magical Meltdown, going into Alistair, and then proceeding to do what we do best, get hit with an Imperm and pass turn. This time around, however, our opponent actually decides to start doing things, summoning his Photon cards in order to go into, I believe it's Clearwing Photon Dragon, question mark? I never remember what that thing is called. Hope Harbinger, that's it. He goes into a beach over Alistair. We use the effect of our Clown in order to negate any damage that we take in order to send it to the graveyard so we can get ourselves Hat-Tricker. We then go into another Alistair, going into the Invocation, getting Hat-Tricker onto the board, being able to go into Nightmare Cerberus. This time around, however, we do decide to activate Cerberus' effect in order to destroy his Hope Harbinger. Invocation then goes live, summoning Mechaba as we beat in for a hefty chunk of damage, unfortunately being unable to end the game just yet. Our opponent then draws their card, things hard for a moment, and then decides to activate Photon's Sanctuary, getting himself 2 Photon tokens. He attributes both of them for Galaxy Eye's Photon Dragon, which is attempting to bash into M.M.M.M. We decide to activate the effect of Alistair, increasing its attack to where he chains the effect of Photon Dragon, to which we chain the effect of M.M.M.M, and he simply scoops. For the second game, our hand is literally Fusion Material City, as we have nothing but fusion spells and nothing to use them on. We decide to go into an Allure, pitching our Alistair and simply setting one passing. Our opponent, again, as you noticed, went first and then simply passed their turn doing nothing, but I digress. During our fourth turn, we decide to just do the same. After 3 turns of stalling, our opponent finally decides it's time to act, summoning Photon Trasher, going into Photon Vanisher, and starting their combo. He does go into a Star Leech Photon Blast Dragon, which I do remember the name of, because it allows him to bring Photon Ice Dragon out onto the board. He then attacks us for a hefty 3k, and he passes his turn. But for some reason, he decides to go into Galaxy Satellite Dragon first, and I was confused. During our turn, this time, since everything in our hand is now essentially live, we decide to go into the full combo, getting Pankratops as an additional bonus. You've seen this combo happen quite a few times before now, so I'm not going to narrate it all too much, but it is just as nice to see it happen every time now that we can efficiently use it. Of course, Cross Sheeps hits the board, allowing Construct to be resummoned thanks to the effect of Ariel. We still have 6 cards in our hand from all of this, which is absolutely bonkers. Wendy gets special summoned once again, going into Nightmare Cerberus now that we actually have another Link 2 target that isn't Anaconda to use. We get ourselves our Hat Tricker to our hand. We decide to link off into the zone that Cerberus is pointing to, going into Abramax, using our Monster Reborn to bring Construct back just for the lulz. We activate the effect of Anaconda going into our Dragoon, and we are free to just swing in for the game. This is a lot of damage on board, and not a lot of things to stop us. Unsurprisingly, we are able to simply bash our way to our victory as we take a swift 2-0 against Photonz. Now, as you all know, since the format change is happening this episode, we actually do have something special. We have our first ever viewer duel. This week, we're taking on Ecorion, another sealed-only Yugi tuber currently doing singles only. He's going to be bringing his sealed-only E-heroes to fight our Shaddolls. We are going to be starting off going second. Ecorion decides to summon his elemental hero Shadow Mist, which we immediately hit with an effect veiler to try and prevent him drawing a mask change. However, he still has the mask change in his hand, managing to go into, God, I never remember. It's Darklaw. Darklaw is the name of that card. Darklaw is very scary because any card that would have hit the graveyard would still be banished, which you can imagine ruins a lot of things for Shaddolls. We do use our Invocation in hand in order to go into Apkalon to negate that effect permanently and then beat over it, dealing 100 points of damage and destroying Darklaw. At this point, we're simply forced to pass because our hand does not have anything else of value. Ecorion then summons Solid Soldier, which is going to bring Shadow Mist onto the board, once again activating Shadow Mist's effect to get a mask change. The mask change is then immediately activated to go into Masked Hero Diane. Then he activates another mask change, unfortunately getting to Darklaw once more. Diane attacks into Apkalon, not realizing that Apkalon cannot be destroyed by battle, and it simply deals 300 points of damage to us and we pass. Then he misclicks, unfortunately, activating his third mask change, which he did not mean to do, going Darklaw into Darklaw. It most likely does not end up mattering much, as we decide to go Apkalon yet again just to get rid of Darklaw so that we can go into our Trick Clown. Trick Clown and Apkalon go into Verte Anaconda, to where we activate the effect of Apkalon and the Clown, getting the Clown back and activating the effect to draw into a Shaddoll Fusion, throwing Dragon. Dragon activates, attempting to hit his back row, which turns out to be back to the front, allowing him to special summon a monster from his graveyard. Essentially, Monster Reborn in a trap card. We then activate our Shaddoll Fusion, and our entire combo is live. The unfortunate part here is I decided to go Verte Anaconda first, so our zones are very screwed up. We have to summon Cross Sheep into a zone where its effect cannot be used, but regardless, we do manage to use our Clown's effect in order to bounce as many cards as possible to where they need to be, drawing Hat Tricker to our hand, getting our Construct back onto the board thanks to Ariel's effect, but we misclick and put it face down. This is turning into Clown Fiesta all over again. We link off into Cerberus in order to destroy Shadow Mist, which lets him get Solid Soldier, then linking off into Crusadia Avramax, activating the effect of our Anaconda to get Dragoon onto the board, which we use to immediately pop Diane off of the board, then passing the turn to our opponent, hoping he has a retort. Ecorion decides to draw a card going into Solid Soldier, which is going to yet again allow him to special summon a Shadow Mist from his hand. And then he has to pass. Very unfortunate. Dragoon's effect simply pops both cards off of the field, and we are able to claim the Game 1 victory. Game number 2. We are yet again going second, and our starting hand is absolute garbage. However, Ecorion's hand does not end up mattering much either, because he simply sets to and passes. We draw into an Allure of Darkness, which turns out to be the key to this game, as we are able to banish one of our dragons to get Magical Meltdown on board, which allows us to draw into an Alistair, using our Shaddoll fusion to bring it up Kalone. Alistair then gets normal summon, and we attempt to activate the effect, to which we are flipped with a Compulse. Compulse, of course, will return it to the hand, but we still get our Invocation. He then activates a second Compulse, returning our Kalone as well. We then activate our Invocation in order to go into Winda, activating Wendy's effect to bring a Beast onto the board, attacking him for 2,200 points of damage, and then simply passing our turn. Bringing it around to Ecorion's turn, he activates Polymerization, going into Elemental Hero Sunrise, which is actually quite a scary card to deal with, because it can pop nearly anything on the field, and it's very strong. He attempts to activate the effect to get a Miracle Fusion to hand, which we decide to ash, because we do not want to deal with a board full of heroes. He uses Sunrise to punch over our Winda, dealing 700 points of damage to us, as we get to return an Shaddoll Fusion to our hand. He then uses Stratos to attack, but activates Sunrise's effect to pop the face-down card off the board, giving us a Shaddoll Fusion off the draw, which is going to be the only way we were able to win from this position. We go into our one-card combo yet again, going into Construct, and you know exactly where this is going to go. The board is going to end on our Crusadia Avramax, as well as our Dragoon. So, instead of going through the combo yet again, I will take this moment to thank Ecorion for being our first ever opponent, and if you'd like to check out what he does over on his channel, you do have the name of it right there. I will also have a link in the description for your convenience. Also, I should point out that since some of the cards in his series are German, I've come to know that Miracle Fusion has turned out to become Wunderfusion! Or Miracle Fusion, or whatever it was. It was amazing. I think it was Wonder Fusion. Wonder Fusion should be the name of Miracle Fusion from here on out onto eternity. As our combo completes its course, you know what's going to happen. Dragoon is going to be summoned yet again. It's going to pop both of our opponent's monster, essentially bringing him to his knees regardless, as that is a lot of damage to take. And then we will simply beat in with Crusadia Avramax, taking a win in our first ever viewer duel. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be episode 15. A quite clean record this time around, scoring 3-1, including our viewer duel. However, I should mention that challenges do not apply to the viewer duels. It would simply be too easy to cheat. So even though we technically completed the Invoke a Nope challenge, it won't count. Unfortunate for us, but we do take home quite a fair amount of star chips, 4 to be exact, bringing our total back up to 10, meaning we can now purchase 2 slots within the store for next week. However, there is a few big things coming next week, because not only is it going to be episode 16, which is quite a milestone by itself, it's also my birthday week. And you remember what we did during Christmas? Yeah, we're gonna do that again, but we're gonna go big. But, as always, if you enjoyed watching this content, I highly suggest subscribing. We are incredibly close to hitting that 1K mark, and I will be ecstatic once we do. Leave a like on the video, leave a comment if you have any suggestions for the series, challenges or otherwise. Remember to also join the Discord if you'd like to either compete against me or suggest something and really want me to see it. But as always, stay safe out there.